Welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm your host, Natalie Rydström. Wimbledon 2013 begins this Monday, and the draw has now been released. Here with us to discuss the betting value is SBR Forum sportswriter and contributor Nila Amerova. Nila, thanks for joining us.
Hey Natalie, nice to see you.
Now, defending champion Roger Federer doesn't have the most favourable draw. He could meet Nadal in the quarterfinals, Murray in the semi-finals and Djokovic in the finals. He did win his favourite warm-up grass court tournament in Halle, but in 8-1 dog to win it, all per Pinnacle Sports. Now, what are your thoughts here?
Yes, this is a tough one for Federer indeed. Nadal as the number 5 seed is the ultimate dangerous floater. It doesn't get worse than that. Assuming all goes to plan and seeding, recent history is on Nadal's side as well. Nadal has won their last 5 Grand Slam encounters, I believe, with his last defeat to Federer coming at the 2007 Wimbledon final. So all in all, you have to say this doesn't really bode well for Federer on paper. But you never know. Federer is looking to match Nadal with 8 slams. He's the 7-time champion at Wimbledon, and he's the defending champion this year. And Federer is a player that is very conscious about his place in history and what his legacy will mean to posterity when he finally hangs up his racket. And this is something Federer wants badly. He wants to rival Nadal in the record books, although he might not openly say so. And I think he's done what he can to prepare for this moment for Wimbledon this year by winning the warm-up event in Halle, as you mentioned, Natalie, albeit it was a watered-down draw there. And one has to keep in mind that this is his favorite place in the world, where he's ruled supreme for many years. So it isn't the easiest draw for Federer, but a champion like Federer, I mean, it's par for the course.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Now, Novak Djokovic is guaranteed to remain number 1 in the ATP rankings, regardless of the outcome of the tourney. He is priced the shortest at just over even money. Is this price too low?
Aside from his ranking, his draw is quite lush, and purely on that score, I would say his price is apt. And on the strength or weakness of his section, more like, it really looks like he's got a rather straightforward path into the final. And I think that's what correlates to his low odds, at least partly. The players that could trouble him on the surface in his immediate corner are Berdych, Richard Gasquet and Tommy Haas. The former two would emerge in the quarters for Djokovic, but both can sometimes be suspect mentally. And so it's never a sure thing with them to mastermind the upset. Haas could be trickier. He's beaten Djokovic recently, but then again, he's also lost to him recently. He would be around a 16 challenge. Still, Djokovic is a player that I think raises his game at this level, at a Grand Slam level, and he's really tough to beat at this level. So assuming all goes to plan and he survives all those challenges, the semis loom straightforward for him, especially because, I mean, he got the luck of the draw with Federer, the number 4 seed at Wimbledon, and Del Potro as a potential threat in the semifinals. Okay. Federer is interesting because he's won several grass court titles, but he's only ever gotten to the quarterfinals of Wimbledon, I believe. So he could be a tougher challenge. Del Potro hasn't proven much of a threat on this surface, so he's not really much of a challenge, I think, at this point in time. So I think that section of the draw is wide open and anybody could emerge, but one has to still fancy Djokovic against the field, anybody that's not named Nadal. So I think Djokovic really, unless something shocking happens, his price is apt, and it looks really like he's going to traipse into the final.
Okay. Now, the next player with the shortest odds is Andy Murray, priced at 3.5 to 1, despite the fact that a Brit hasn't won at Wimbledon in 77 years. Records are made to be broken, though. Will Murray finally end the drought, do you think?
Well, that is the question, Natalie. Will Murray finally accomplish what all of Britain hopes he will accomplish? I mean, this has been the talking point since last year and since his runner-up finish to Federer. I think definitely he could accomplish the feat. In so many ways, he did win. He did reach the Wimbledon final last year, and although he did lose, he did come back almost a month later to win the Olympic gold. The Olympic gold was played at the All England Club. So this is a surface that is really good for his game as well. He's got the home court advantage. So, I mean, everything is definitely pointing to this being the year that Murray finally ends Britain's drought. And I think he's also prepared himself very well. I think he could have played the French Open, but he chose to withdraw and prepare for Wimbledon instead, where, let's face it, his chances were always going to be better than in Paris. And he, in fact, has had more practice than anybody on grass. He started hitting a week ahead. While everybody was still playing the French Open, he was already hitting at the All England Club. So he's got more grass court practice than anybody else. He's also recently won one of the warm-up tournaments. So everything is really looking favorable for him. That said, he got no favors from the draw because he's still in the same half as Federer and Nadal. And although he avoided Nadal in the quarterfinals, Nadal still looms in the semifinal. And again, history is on Nadal's side there too. So it's still going to be really a tough run for Murray.
Talking of Nadal now, his price has shot up to just under 5-1, given his own daunting task of having to potentially get through a Federer Murray back-to-back before dealing in theory with a #1 player and the world, Novak Djokovic. Now, could this be a steal of a prize for the guy that's only lost twice all year in 45 outings?
Absolutely, Natalie. This is a steal. I think maybe even the steal of the season in many ways. I say jump on it. I'm sure it's not going to be easy for Nadal, but hey, I mean, he's certainly on convincing form right now, having won 7 titles already. I mean, that's pretty impressive, especially for a guy that wasn't playing for 8 months and everybody was pretty much writing his obituary at the start of this season. And he's won a slam as well, which his 8th French Open, 3 Masters. So everything is looking really good for Nadal. One thing you have to keep in mind, I mean, tennis is a mental game as much as anything else, and winning begets confidence. And so I think he'll fancy his chances to win here as well. He won this event twice already, so he's already proven that he can play on grass. He's been to the finals a few more times. He's never had it easy here anyway, really, when you think about it. So even if it appears hard right now, it's no reason to shy away from his odds, in my opinion. I think he's got as good a shot as any of the main real contenders to win this, like Djokovic, Murray, and Federer.
Right, okay. Finally, before we wrap up the show, Nila, are there any long shots, a couple of long shots that you fancy putting a bet on?
Yes, well, the biggest victory as far as the draw goes is really in Djokovic's half. That Federer bookends as the 4th seed and could be a potential semifinalist if all goes to seeding and plan. It is somewhat maybe disrespectful to say Federer is the easy option, but he's never had a good Wimbledon. So the other player in that section that I think would loom as a good long shot is Berdych. Berdych would be Djokovic's quarterfinal opponent, and if Berdych does beat Djokovic, theoretically, he then has a great chance to move into the finals against, assuming all goes to plan, and Federer is there waiting for him. On the flip side, again though, Federer is a good long shot as well too, because if Berdych beats Djokovic in the quarterfinals, then I think Federer benefits just as much, because I think Federer's probability against Berdych is definitely going to be better than it's going to be against Djokovic to win. So those two loom as really good long shot bets in that side of the draw. And on the other side of the draw, I think Tsonga is one of the long shot bets that really leaps off the page. All the talk is about Murray avoiding a nightmare scenario with Nadal in the quarterfinals, but I'm not so sure he's won the lottery with Tsonga either.
All right, Nila, thanks for joining us. I'll see you next week for some more Wimbledon betting coverage.
Thanks so much, Natalie. I'm looking forward to that.